Humans have spent thousands of years perfecting the art of making each other suffer. From shame to slow death, every civilization had their own special flavors. Europe liked things that went crack. Asia preferred things that went spikes. And everyone else got really creative with the animals. Let us see how many punishments history has performed. The stocks and pillory. Shoo, everyone is looking at you now. That is kind of the point. No blood, no screaming, just public humiliation every Thursday. But some people found it boring. They wanted something worse. The iron boot, famous in Scotland, France, and Spain. A tiny metal boot pressed on your foot with the goal of crushing the tibia and fibula bones until 1 hit, 2 hits, and more, slowly and painfully flattening the foot. The pain makes you live with it for the rest of your life. The sweatbox, a cheap and efficient solution to lock one man inside a wooden or metal box. A literal standing coffin. You spend 6 months at sea looking for a city of gold, and you end up in a box for 10 days. We do not see you suffering or any kind of blood, just the smell. Little ease. The most famous one was used in the Tower of London. It is 4 feet wide and 4 feet tall. A man cannot stand and he cannot lie down. He just exists in a permanent squat like a human accordion. The oubliette, from the French word oublier, which means to forget. Because once you were in, the jailers were usually dead. A bottle-shaped dungeon with a single opening at the very top. Prisoners were lowered in by rope, or just dropped. The Australian treadmill. While you think of a treadmill as gym equipment to pay and use, in the 19th century in Sydney, they were a secondary punishment for convicts who were misbehaving in the colonies. All together now. Right, left, right. Walk uphill forever. And while they are at it, grind some corn for your breakfast. After many hours, if one person collapsed, the whole rhythm broke. It was monotonous, exhausting, and caused permanent joint damage. The Judas cradle. Just imagine a wooden pyramid with a pointy bit. Then you tie your victim and let gravity do the rest. The people most commonly associated with this pyramid of sphincteral delight were the Spanish Inquisition. Though to be honest, we do not have many records of it being used by them from the 15th and 16th century, and this punishment could take several days. The strapado, a fan favorite of the Spanish Inquisition and various European courts. The victim had their hands tied behind their back and a rope was attached to their wrists and tossed over a pulley or beam. The executioner would drop the victim and then suddenly jerk the rope tight before they hit the ground. Squashy, dislocating both shoulders at once. If the victim had not already snitched, they could add weights of hundreds of pounds to their ankles. The rack, it will turn that no into a yes and that medium into an extra large in just 3 easy payments of your dignity. Before they could rack you, there would be paperwork. A lot of it. There were rules, protocols, procedures, red tape, sawing, and the breaking wheel. The Catherine wheel, also known as the breaking wheel. The goal is to apply enough force over the small area of the bones to exceed its structural integrity. Once the major bones are shattered, the victim's limbs are woven through the spokes and displayed on the entrance of the city to make enemies fear us, or make the people of your city super depressed and ready to revolt. Heel hauling, or as the pirates called it, the deep sea exfoliation, primarily used by the Dutch and British navies. They would tie ropes around you, drop you off one side of the ship, and haul you under the keel to the other side. The bottom of the boat is covered in sharp, crusty barnacles. It was so brutal that most people did not survive the first lap. And if you did, they would usually just do it again. Honacale, a distinct form of capital punishment under ancient Roman law meant only for parricide, the murder of parents or close kin. The Romans believed if you killed your parents, you did not deserve to touch the earth or see the sky. So they put you a very confused bells, a snake, a monkey, a rooster, and a dog into the river. Death by elephant. In the Mughal Empire and across Southeast Asia, elephants were specifically trained for years to obey commands such as crush a limb, then a joint, and keep the victim alive until the final command to crush the head. A natural hydraulic press. It had a 0% failure rate and runs on peanuts. The bamboo torture, most famously attributed to the Japanese during World War II. Those legends dated back to ancient China and Southeast Asia. In the first 12 hours, knowing it is coming might already be a torture in and of itself. Hitting the 24-hour mark, and the skin, the bamboo is already 2 to 3 feet high. By the next 48 to 72 hours, the plant has grown completely through the body. Death usually occurs due to internal hemorrhaging or organ failure. Shivatan, a human cage. Here we can just leave them hanging while providing a reliable food source for the local crow population. An iron suit would also be used to prevent the victim from swatting away birds and other creatures. The rat torture. We could use a bowl or a tube, a peasant plus a bowl and a rat inside, and you already have a creepy situation, or a tube to really give the precise direction of where a rat should go. The rat dungeon. This updated cell is located below a London tower. When the river gets high, all the grumpy, hungry rats get squeezed out of their homes and pushed right into your dark little hole. You are just sitting there in the dark, shackled up, listening to those little noises get closer and closer. You cannot see where to kick. You have to fight them off until you are too tired to keep your eyes open. And when you wake up, even more bite marks. Hanged, drawn, and quartered. That one was a 3-act event. Highly specific state-sponsored ritual for high treason. You would be dragged around town while the people throw food at you. While hanged, you would be unzipped from the chest to your belly. Then they removed your inner parts and burned them right in front of you. Burning at the stake. If she was lucky and the wood was dry, it was over quick. If she was not, it was a long screaming nightmare. Lindsay. The Chinese made thousands of cuts throughout the traitor's body while in front of a crowd, leaving his face for last to make sure everyone saw themselves in his body. Impalement. Popularized by the Ottoman Empire in the 15th century, a long greased wooden stake was carefully driven through the body to avoid hitting vital organs, coming out of the shoulders or neck. Crucifixion. As your body sagged under its own weight, your chest cavity would compress, and to get a single breath, you had to physically push yourself up using your nailed feet. A grueling cycle of pain that could last for days until your legs finally gave out. Flaying. Although losing your largest organ is a 10 out of 10 on the discomfort scale, it was the biological aftermath that actually did the trick. Without skin to regulate temperature or keep out bacteria, victims would die slowly from hypothermia, dehydration, or massive infection. And the Assyrians would then drape the human leather over city walls as a literal wallpaper of warning. The blood eagle. If the legends are true, the Vikings were indeed very creative, but the how-to-guide is terrifyingly specific. The ritual involved cutting the victim's back open and hacking the ribs away from the spine. The ribs were then folded outward to resemble a pair of bloody wings. For the grand finale, the executioner would pull the victim's lungs out through the back and drape them over the wings. As the victims struggled to breathe, the lungs would flutter with every gasp, giving the appearance of a bird taking flight. Scaphism. Back at the boats. If you thought the Romans or Vikings were intense, the ancient Persians would like a word. The victim was stripped naked, covered with honey, and sandwiched between 2 identical rowboats or hollowed-out tree trunks with only their head, hands, and feet sticking out. The victim was kept alive through daily force feeding with milk, essentially becoming a stationary multi-layered buffet for parasites and insects. The sweetness of the honey and the stench of the severe diarrhea attracted swarms of wasps, flies, and beetles which would eventually burrow into the victim's flesh and lay eggs. This has been going on for 1 or 2 weeks. It certainly gives a whole new meaning to the phrase being one with nature. The brazen bull. Designed by Paralaus of Athens for the tyrant Phalaris. The concept was simple. Put a person inside, lock the door, and light a massive fire underneath. Paralaus designed a complex system of internal tubes and pipes that acted like a woodwind instrument, making the scream of the victim muffled and distorted, emerging from the bull's nose as a series of high-pitched melodic roars. The tyrant actually made Paralaus the first person to test his own creation. So was any of this fine? The people are burning the guards. They are just expressing their passion through local urban redevelopment. Humans are bloody scary. What have you become?